So this is a map of Avon Township, which was made in 1857. That is the earliest map that I can find. I've asked the folks at the library here and at the Ohio Room and the Elyria Library. Nobody seems to have a complete map that's any younger than that. So we're going to use that to look a little bit further into the settlement. So this is where it's broken up into these sections, these 160-acre sections. Now, Wilbur Cahoon was born in 1772 in the Massachusetts colony. He was the half-brother of Joseph Cahoon, who settled over there in Dover Township, or what is now Bay Village. He was his half-brother. Wilbur was going to be a settler, but he was also a land speculator. In 1814, he purchased 680 acres of land from Orrin Ensign. Remember, Orrin was the surveyor, and then he received land that he could then sell to get money. So this is part of the deed for that land, Orrin Ensign to Wilbur Cahoon. In January 1815, he purchased another 129 acres in Avon from his brother Joseph. And here's the deed for that, Joseph Cahoon to Wilbur Cahoon. In December 1815, he purchased 585 acres, again from Orrin Ensign. And in August of 1816, he bought 160 acres from Ebenezer and Joshua Clark. So he had over 1,500 acres. In the summer of 1814, Wilbur Cahoon, Nicholas Young, and Lewis Austin came with their families from Montgomery County, New York, to Ohio. So they traveled along the North Ridge, which was an Indian path, to Range 16, Township 7, and these were the first permanent settlers in Avon. So Noah Davis was here before, but he was not here very long. So Cahoon, Nicholas Young, and Lewis Austin were the first permanent settlers. So let's go back to the map. Nicholas Young owned 100 acres in Section 22. So this would be the area just, here is where Detroit Road is now. This would be the area right by to the east of Nagle Road. In 1815, he went back east and brought his wife and 5 children to Avon in October 1815. Lewis Austin settled on 50 acres in Section 27 with his wife and 7 children. And this would be where that Avon Oaks Country Club is now. So if you drive along there, that would have been his land originally. Cahoon built a cabin in Section 11. This would be around where Avon High School is. He, his wife Priscilla, and 7 children lived there. Cahoon planted corn the first year. He was able to plant some wheat in the second year. You need more clear land to grow wheat. He planted an orchard of 100 trees in the spring of 1815. He had to travel to Newburgh to get the saplings. So I had to bring them back from Newburgh, south of Cleveland. Cahoon also built a sawmill on French Creek in the fall of 1815. And in the summer of 1818, he built a grist mill adjacent to the sawmill. Remember now, this is an 1857 map, so it's a lot later, but it has an expanded view of the French Creek area. So here would be Detroit Road. Here's 611 and Stony Ridge Road. This would be where the Avon Animal Hospital is now, and then where you cross French Creek, that would be what is now Avon Isle. And this This is marked as the first mill. So that would have been where Cahoon's first mill was. And the Cahoon house now, the frame house that he built, is just down here. So the first permanent settler in the northern part of Avon was Adam Miller. He purchased 170 acres of land for $580 from Wilbur Cahoon, and he did that on December 1st, 1819. This is in Section 6, which was just west of Noah Davis's property. And of course, you know very well where that is. That's, where the boat launch is, and of course where his son's house is. Now, speaking of his son, Peter Miller, if you'd have to be maybe a little bit older, but you would have learned about him, or at least a story about Peter Miller, if you were educated, learned how to read from the McGuffey's Readers. Because there was a story about Peter Miller in the McGuffey Reader. And the story goes, one Saturday evening in 1821, a 17-year-old lad named Peter Miller was walking home. He had been working for Daniel Fitch, who was a farmer in Sheffield. Late in the day, he started on his 5-mile walk home. Much of the way was through swamps and forests. Suddenly, out of the swamp came the sound of rustling reeds and cracking brush. Peter turned to find a large bear plunging toward him. The bear had been near the pathway with her 2 cubs as Peter passed by. Peter remembered hearing that a bear would not climb a small tree. So he selected a slender elm, leapt up to grab the lower branches, and climbed as high as possible. Much to his chagrin, the bear climbed after him. The bear seized his left foot in her jaws. Peter could feel the blood inside his boot. He kicked furiously until the boot flew off into the woods. The bear took hold of his other foot and let go of the tree. Her weight pulled the boot from Peter's foot, and the bear fell from the tree, her teeth lacerating his foot as she fell. The bear was not done. She decided to climb the tree again. Peter made a final valiant struggle to shake the bear off, and both bear and boy toppled to the ground. Apparently, the shock of the second fall was enough for the bear, who called to her cubs and disappeared in the swamp. Peter limped his way home and arrived at night, wounded and weary. Neighbors assembled to hear his story. They sent a party to search for the bear, but she and her cubs escaped. So that was what it was like to live in Avon Lake in 1821. Peter, of course, survived, and in 1830 constructed the frame house, which is now the oldest house in Avon Lake that you guys have care for.